it's Jordan. Welcome to our channel. I actually am filming my everyday makeup for you guys. I know it's been a long time, but we just recently moved. We're in a new place, so we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into the video. I'm gonna start with some primer. I've been using the Model Coat Redness Reducing Primer because I tend to get a little bit of redness in my, in this general area on my face right here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shake it up, and this is green, so that's why it's gonna kind of help with my redness. So I'm just gonna go ahead and focus this kind of in my T-zone area where I get the most redness and just work this all into my skin before I start my foundation. I don't know if you guys could hear Haley vlogging in the background, but we've been vlogging a ton lately. So if you haven't caught up with our recent vlogs, we have a bunch of Vlogmas vlogs. We have a bunch of moving vlogs of our new place because like I said, we just moved. So if you guys want to go ahead and catch up with those, I'll link some of them below for you guys. But once I have my primer on my face, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my foundation. People honestly trip out when I tell them that this is my everyday jam. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. I love this stuff, I'm not even kidding. This is like my go-to daily wear, and I'm in the shade 107 Fresh Beige. But I just love it. It gives really nice coverage. It's not too heavy. I love the matte finish because I typically like to highlight my face, so I don't like too dewy of a foundation. So I'm actually going in with the Sigma Dew Fiber F50 brush. I love this brush for foundation. And I'll typically kind of start in the center of my face because I feel like that's where I need a little bit more coverage. And then I'll go and just blend into the rest of my face. But I really like the way this brush applies makeup. I feel like it gives it a really even coverage and it doesn't leave like any streaks or anything like that. So it's kind of been my jam lately. All right, so once I have my foundation nice and blended into my skin, I'm gonna go ahead and conceal. Lately, I've been using the Becca concealers, and first I go in with a darker shade. I go in with the shade Beige, and these are the Aqua Luminous Perfecting Concealers. So like I said, I'll go in with a darker shade and I focus this just on this area right here because like I said, this is where I tend to have a little bit more redness. And then if I have any blemishes, I'll go ahead and put it like right on my blemishes. I have a little one right here, a little bit on my forehead here, just to give a little bit of extra coverage. But I really like this because it's super light, and this is like my go-to if I don't want to wear any foundation, but I still want to like have a little bit of coverage on my face. It blends so nicely on the skin. And then I'm gonna go in with a lighter shade. This is in the shade Porcelain, which is like, I think one of their lightest shades. And I'm gonna use this right on my under eyes, but just to cover up any darkness that I have under my eyes. And then I'll put a little bit down the bridge of my nose, the forehead, and then right on my chin just to even out that bright highlighted look. And then I just go in with a beauty sponge. This one's actually from BH Cosmetics, and I really love this sponge. So I'm just gonna kind of tap everything out, and this is a little damp. I also like to put it on my eyelids as well as kind of like a base. Because I don't usually put a primer on my eyes. I don't like eyeshadow primers for some reason. I feel like it makes it harder for me to blend out my eyeshadows. So I always just do concealer. I also like to take the beauty sponge and just kind of go over my entire face. I feel like it just gives me a little bit more of a flawless finish with my foundation and more of a natural look. All right, next it's time to fill in the brows, which typically takes me the longest out of my entire makeup getting ready process. I swear if I didn't have to do my brows, I'd be done like 10 minutes sooner. But lately I've been using the Benefit brow products. I kind of switch it up all the time. They have a few different products that I like, but today I'm using the Goof Proof Brow Pencil in the shade 4. I usually use shade 5, but I just ran out, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with 4. It usually works out for me though. And I'm gonna go ahead and just fill in my brows. If you guys wanna see an updated brow routine or see a more kind of in-depth process on how I do my brows, let me know in the comments below. So I'm gonna kind of just speed through this process really quickly. All right, so once I have my brows on, it's time to move on to my face, or go back to my face rather. I don't know if I do my makeup in a weird order. What way do you guys do your makeup in? But next I'm gonna just put a little bit of powder on my face, and I'm using a Juno & Co brush in ES02. I just love how big and fluffy it is. And then I'm using a little bit of my Pure Cosmetics powder in the shade Golden Medium. And I just use a tiny little bit just to set my face before I go in with my bronzer and contour and all of that situation. So just a tiny little bit. I just feel like it helps my bronzer go on more smooth and doesn't get any, doesn't like get weird or anything on my face. So there. Okay, next I'm gonna contour and bronze up my face, and I am obsessed. You guys have probably seen me use this for any makeup video that I do. It's the Pure Cosmetics Contour Diaries contour palette and highlight palette right here. So I'm gonna go in with another Juno & Co brush. This is their ES05 brush. They're just so soft, and I just feel like they really apply makeup good. So I'm gonna go in with the shades Secret and Passion. It's these two shades right here. So one's more of a contour, a gray tone shade, and one's more of a bronzing shade, but I just like to mix them a little bit. And then just apply this right on my cheekbones here. Make sure I'm not dragging it down, kind of keeping it a little bit higher on my cheekbone. I'm also gonna do my forehead area right here, and then go down on my neck right here, on my jawline. And just make sure it's really nice and blended. So once everything's pretty nice and blended, I'll go just in with the first shade here, which is more of the gray tone contour shade. And I'll just focus this right in this area just to make it look a little bit more chiseled. Alrighty, so I think we're good with the bronzing slash contouring. I'll bring it just a little bit down my neck, kind of where my throat is right here. And then I'm not really a nose contour. I don't know, I never really have. But what I'll do is I'll just take a little bit of kind of what's excess left over on the brush, and I'll just squeeze it, and I'll kind of just put a little bit on either side, and then just kind of like right underneath the tip of my nose. I don't feel like I need a heavy contour on my nose. I mean, maybe I do, I don't know, but I just never do that. Okay, so next I'm going to move on to highlight. I'm using, this is like my jam. I mean, if you haven't used the Champagne Pop Becca highlight, you're just really missing out on life. It's truly the best highlight I've ever used, ever. So I like to use this little tiny brush right here. It's a Sigma F06 brush. And I'll just focus this right on the tops of my cheekbones here. It's like, come on, you guys. It's like you barely even need any, and it just shows up so well. And the reason I like to do the highlight first before the blush is because I feel like I like to kind of blend everything together. So I do my highlight first, and then I go in with blush. And lately I've been using this little tiny one. I don't even know where we got this from, but it's a Tarte blush in the shade Party. And I'm gonna go in with, I believe this is a contour brush, but I like to use it for blush. This is the Sigma large angled contour brush. It's the F40, but I just feel like it's the perfect shape and size for blush. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that and focus this on the apples of my cheek and then blend it back. And I just feel like it kind of blends your highlight so it looks a little bit more natural. As soon as I'm done doing all of that, I go back in with just a powder brush. I don't even put powder on it. I just go and kind of just make sure everything is nice and blended so I don't have any type of harsh lines. Everything looks nice and natural as can be. And speaking of powdering, I don't know why, totally missed a step. I'm going to set my under eyes because I totally forgot to do that. I'm using this little tiny brush right here. This is a BH Cosmetics brush in the shade in the style 4. And I'm just gonna go back in with the Pure Contour Diaries palette here. And I'm using the middle shade called Dream. It's kind of a yellow shade. And I'm just gonna focus this right underneath my eyes and on my eyelid as well, since I did put a little bit of the concealer on my eyes. Okay, so at this point, I'm pretty much done with my makeup. Like I said, this is an everyday makeup look, so I'm not gonna go too heavy with much more. And I do have eyelash extensions, so you guys might have been wondering that in the beginning of this video because it looks like my lashes are obviously fake, which they are. So I'm not gonna put on mascara or anything. What I usually do on a daily basis is just kind of outline my lash line. And lately, my go-to has been the Maybelline Total Temptations palette. Me and Haley actually filmed a little Instagram video with this, so if you guys haven't seen that, make sure you're following us on Instagram. But what I do is I take these bottom shades right here, this brown shade and this black shade, and for my lower lash line, what I do is I take a little pencil brush. This is the Sigma Pencil Brush E30, and I'm gonna focus it more in that brown shade and just barely tap it into the black just to give it a little bit more definition. And I'm just gonna work this on my lower lash line just to give me some nice dimension to my eye. I feel like even those days where I want to wear very light makeup, I just really like to line my lash line. I just feel like it makes me look a little bit more put together. So I'm only going to do just a little bit. I'm really focusing more on the outer corner of my lash line as well. I go back in with that brown color, just do a little bit more. And what I like to do as well is kind of almost do a little bit of a wing. So I'll kind of extend that. Oh, there goes one of my lashes. So just kind of, like I said, extending that out to make it look like I have a little bit of a winged liner. And I'm gonna focus more with the black on this outer corner here. And the black is a really light shade of black, so it's not gonna be super harsh, which is why I like using this shade. Okay, and then for the upper lash line, I technically could use the same brush, but I don't for some reason. I actually go in with this Sedona Lace EB23. It's kind of more of an angled eyeliner brush. And this time I'm gonna focus more on the black with a little bit of brown. I just feel like the black on top looks a little bit better. So I'm gonna just line the top of my lash line. Since I have eyelash extensions, I kind of like to do more of a natural eye so you could focus more on the lashes and see them better. So when I'm doing the top lash line, I also like to wing this out a little bit and kind of meet that wing I did on my bottom lash line. All right, so once I'm done lining my lash line, I'm gonna go back in with that Contour Diaries palette, that shade Dream, and just sweep a little bit more powder underneath my eyes just from any fallout that I may have had. Just make sure everything is nice and cleaned up. Since I do have my lash extensions, I'm not going to wear any mascara. I do have one. I get my lashes done at Amazing Lash Studio, if you guys are wondering, and they do have a mascara that you can wear on your false lashes. But I'll typically do that if it's like week 2 or week 3, so when they're fresh like they are now, I just leave them how they are. I'm actually just gonna brush them out just a little bit, just to make sure they're nice and separated and everything. But I get the volume lashes in the style Gorgeous, and I get the longest length, which are 15s. So if you guys are curious, definitely check them out. We go to the one in Natomas, which is in Northern California, kind of towards Sacramento. Love them there. They do such a good job. So next, I'm just gonna do a little bit of bottom mascara just to even out my lashes. I'm using the Vega Lash Volumizing Mascara. I really like this specific brush for bottom lashes. I don't really like this style wand for my top lashes, but I just feel like it's nice and small and it's not gonna get mascara everywhere. So I'm just gonna put on a tiny little bit to my bottom lashes. All right, so I'm actually gonna go back to my eyeshadow. I don't do this every single day, but what I'll do is I'll just take some of that brown shade and I'm gonna go in with the BH Cosmetics No. 6 brush. And I just take a tiny little bit. This eyeshadow is really pigmented, so you only need like literally a tiny bit. And I'm just gonna put this right in my crease just to add a little bit of depth and dimension. I don't want too much, and I'm gonna make sure it's really nice and blended, so it's almost like it's not there, but it is, you know? So the last thing I'm gonna do for the eyeshadow is I'm gonna use the highlight shade in this palette. It's this top one right here. It's kind of like a gold shade. I'm just gonna get a little bit on my finger, and I'm just gonna put it right on my inner corner just to kind of brighten up my look just a little bit. Could also do this with your highlight, but I'm just gonna do it with the eyeshadow. Alrighty, so I think that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go back in with my powder brush just to make sure that everything is nice and good to go. And then the very last thing that I'm gonna do is I'll typically just put on a chapstick, but if I want a little bit more of something on my lips, this right here is my jam. This is from Becca. This is, what are these even called? These are their Lush Lip Color Bombs, and this is in the shade Chai Cream. Kid you not, completely obsessed with this. Like I've used almost the entire thing. And I'm just gonna put on a little bit of this. I really like this because it's so natural and almost just makes your lip color look even better. Boom. So that is basically it, you guys. This is what I've been doing basically on an everyday basis. Obviously, if I'm going out or doing something like more extra, I'll do a different makeup look. So if you guys wanna see more makeup looks from me, or if you wanna see more makeup looks from Haley, who is my sister, she's who I share this channel with. So if you guys wanna see more makeup looks, let us know in the comments below. But this is basically it. It's pretty easy, simple, but you still feel really good. You still feel a little bit glam. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.